Radio, your urban music link.
Welcome to WMB1 Radio and Straight to the Point Sports. And I am joined here today by Steve Lopes and Derek Demir sitting in for Derek and Say Show. What's going on, fellas?
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. I think Derek was a little rattled because the NFL schedule release, and he saw that the Detroit Lions were playing against the Cowboys, so he didn't want to face me. Let's just face it, Derek. I know you're nervous. Well, I'll just put that out there. But yeah, anyway, Derek Demers, I always have a problem. Demers.
Yeah.
I always botch that for something.
That's all right.
Demers is sitting in for Derek Consatio. And like I said, I have my regular Steve Lopes. So yeah, fellas, it's a great time for sports. We've got the Boston Celtics who just advanced. I know it's not your green team, but for the locals here in Boston and New England, it's a great time.
It's nice to have a bye for the first two rounds of the playoffs.
This is true. We'll get into it. But
it was Milwaukee when we won.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I was going to say.
But yes,
draw, man.
You play who's in front of you. So the Celtics are the first of all the teams to advance to the conference finals. They await the winner of New York and Indiana, which will be decided. Not decided. Tomorrow will be Game 6. Tomorrow. They get an extra day.
No early game tonight.
Yeah, no, they get an extra day. So it'll be Game 6. So if New York should win, the Celtics will start the Eastern Conference Sunday. If there's a Game 7, it'll go to Tuesday. Tuesday will be the earliest in which the Celtics will play. But yeah, so it's a good time. We'll talk about the Celtics. We'll talk also. We have to talk about the rest of the playoffs. We'll talk about the series.
West Coast
the West Coast series. Yes, we'll talk.
I love both those.
We'll talk about the defending champs, Denver Nuggets. Lost the first two and have come back with vengeance. 3 in a row.
Crazy series.
3 in a row.
They needed a fire lit under them.
Yeah, and they got.
We can be beat.
Yeah.
And they got that fire. Also, we'll talk about another schizophrenic series, Dallas Mavericks and the OKC Thunder.
So good. Good.
Just when you think somebody's going to take it, by the throat and a hold, then it slips right through.
Yep.
And then the other team takes control. So we'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about the playoffs in length. We'll talk about the different series, what we think should or could happen. Also, we need to talk about a mainstay that has been in the name of 3 decades. The end of an era. TNT's inside the NBA.
Broke my heart last
34
night.
years.
Yeah.
34 years. These guys
As
have
a
been.
team.
Yes.
They're not going to get hired as a team. So
No.
I like their chemistry.
Yeah. So yes, the team is going to be broken up.
Power of the dollar.
And you know what's so crazy? I tried to remember inside the NBA before those guys were there. Do you remember Fred Hickman?
Yeah.
Fred Hickman.
Bailey.
Yes,
Yeah.
Fred Hickman. I remember. And I'm saying to myself, I'm trying to think. I'm like, wait a second. So TNT,
Was it him? Hot Rod Huntley.
there was a number of people who they had on there, but Fred Hickman was the mainstay. He was like the anchor. He was like the Ernie.
Yeah.
And I was like scratching I'm like, Fred Hickman. That's right.
That could have been a trivia.
Yes.
Quiz. Could have put it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second, Fred Hickman. That's right. But yes, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what's going on, and as far as the contract ending and where it's going to. Also, we need to talk about the WNBA women once again smashing records. It's the Caitlin effect.
First sellout at Mohegan Sun, 9,000
Yes.
people, and it was sold out a month ahead of time. As soon as the draft was announced, the schedule came out.
So as much as people want to hate on the fact that Caitlin Clark is getting pushed forward, ultimately it's helping. It's helping their numbers. Whatever she does on the court is secondary, but her mere presence has uplifted
networks.
it's uplifted the
She's helping
WNBA.
Everybody.
So yes, if you are a female and you play in the WNBA, money's is coming your way.
Eventually, for sure.
Money's coming your way. You know,
And
you
others
see it.
are following. She's setting the pavement.
Yes,
but there's others, Juju and them, getting ready to come. That
money,
gonna increase it even
money is coming in the way of television contracts, sponsors. It's all coming. So ultimately, you know, I see the pushback with, you know, people like, why are they doing that with her? And
even the NBA, WNBA players.
yes, but the thing is, like I said, it's the trickle down effect, and she is the cause of it. You have to start somewhere. Even if she happens to not be, you know, the person who she was in college,
She's jump starting it now.
that's right. Just the mere fact of her jumpstarting the league, the way the way Larry and Magic,
Magic, yeah.
and that's what they need, and that's what
But
they
when
need.
Larry and Magic came in, weren't they a year apart?
No, no, they came in. They came in at the same time.
Drafted.
Yes.
As a junior.
He stayed
Yes,
and then came.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, it's just they were forever tied together, and I
And
think
the East Coast, West Coast.
yeah, and it was perfect
Major
because
markets.
you had the two major markets. So hopefully, you know, Caitlin can do that, and you know, the people who are stars in the WNBA, just wait a second longer. You'll get your just due. Just wait. It's coming. It's coming. All right. So first, we'll start off with the WNBA. Excuse me, the NBA. We'll talk about the Celtics. So the Celtics, obviously, they won 4-1, as Steve brought up. First 2 rounds. You know, it wasn't the greatest of competition.
I'm disappointed.
I am disappointed.
I'm disappointed that we're not like beating teams by 20 points.
Well, when they
it's a
win,
struggle.
they are. But then they'll stub their toe and lose to the same team they just beat by
Yeah.
20.
Well, I mean, they lost one game both rounds, but there's been a couple of games that we're winning by 12, but it's midway through the fourth quarter. It's a 3-5-point game.
Have you seen that pattern before? With
Yeah.
the Celtics?
Yeah, that's why I'm a little disappointed
The
right now.
last time they played Golden State in the championship, they looked great one day, and then the next day it's like
they look great for the first 3 games, and then they
make adjustments,
and then they lost 3 games in a row. I often am told by people that I am hating, but I look at it this way. All right, if you can openly criticize your team, you are not being a homer. If you can look at them, you know, and see their weaknesses,
right,
and say it. And I often get criticized for that because I look at, you know, what they could be doing better. And, you know, it's like looking at the cup half empty as opposed to half full. You know what I'm saying? And I get criticized a lot by you know, some people on social media. I do the same thing, and it's funny because a person who I will remain nameless, I won't name, he said, you know, you're doing it to the Celtics, but you don't do it to the Cowboys. That's BS because I always do it with the Cowboys. It's just that I think that it's, you know, once again, I told them, if you can't look at your team and openly criticize them to see where they can do better, as opposed to just say, oh, no, they won tonight. No, this because with every series, it builds. And I, quite frankly, looking at the East, you know, even when the playoffs started, I thought, you know, before the Giannis injury, I thought it might have been, it might have been another clash between Boston and Milwaukee. Unfortunately,
not just Giannis, but the point guard, he was injured too.
Yeah, so it didn't work out. Then after that, I said to myself, if the Celtics don't win the East, they'll never win anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's face it. First round, no Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
All right. So that was pretty easy. And let's face it, the Cavs, the Heat team wasn't the same Heat team from last year.
Nope.
It wasn't.
They lost some good role players.
Yes.
The supporting cast got scooped up by other teams.
And even if Jimmy was there, I think it would have been a little better. But I think, you know, regardless of what he said,
still the better team.
Yeah, regardless of what he said, I think ultimately the talent would have played out. You know, if not in 5 games, 6 games. Do I think 7 games?
You know what keeps a series, and only with Miami keeps it close, is they'll always have the coaching advantage.
Yes. Yeah.
Spoelstra gets the most. The guys that left, I never knew who they were until they were in Spoelstra's system.
He's
We're like,
amazing.
who are these guys coming in and contributing?
Great coach.
Yeah.
And makes adjustments. That's
Yes.
the big
Yep.
difference between him and the current Celtics coach. It's
Yeah.
not an in-game adjuster.
So now we get to the second round.
Donovan Mitchell
And
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen and Karis LeVert.
Yeah, that's huge. That's 3 of your 8-man.
So for
rotation.
two, so let's say Donovan was only there for 1, 2, and
Yeah,
1,
he
2, and
played-
3,
Yeah, then he missed.
and then he missed 4 and 5. Karis LeVert missed the last 2 games, and obviously Jared Allen missed the whole series.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pushback on him
Yep.
because I don't know if you read any of the reports, but a lot of people were saying that he should have took a numbness. He should have took a shot for numbness and tried to play through the pain, and he chose not to.
It's his body.
That's right.
His
It's his
career.
body,
Yeah.
and he chose not to inject himself. To subject himself to any type of drugs or anything. Maybe that's just him.
Yeah.
Not everybody does it.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna want.
I didn't
to.
realize that was a problem, though, that
Yes.
he could have played.
Yes.
And it caused tension with some of the teammates. And
Yes.
It caused it definitely with management.
Management. Yeah. So
Coach kind of called him out. And
Yeah.
Like now he didn't want to play.
so when it comes, I don't know where he's at in contract, but I'm sure that's going to be a major issue moving forward. I think with any team, to see that you weren't, you could have, been to the point where you might have stepped on the court and played with some pain,
Yep.
played through it, but you chose not to do it. So it could, that could
At
follow.
least attempt and see what your pain threshold was while you're playing. I'm going to take the shot. Am I uncomfortable? Or maybe he just didn't believe in any artificial.
Where is he on his contract?
I don't know. That's why I said I don't know.
Main contributor.
I don't. I. That's why I.
He brings to that team and blocks
Yeah.
rebounds.
Yeah.
Follow ups. He doesn't get no plays run for him, and he'll still average
Right.
double figures.
That's why if they had those 3 players,
Yeah.
I'd be a little nervous. I mean, I think we would win because of our talent, but game 6 or 7 potentially.
It would have definitely been at least 6, and
Yeah.
it quite possibly
Right.
could have gone 7.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where unfortunately injury has cut a lot of the teams, the first 2 teams in which the Celtics have played against. And moving forward, let's just say the Knicks, they happen to face the Knicks. They're in a similar situation. What's his name? Anobi. He's out, and then you have Robinson, Randall, and Bogdanovich who are out, and then
I
you
haven't
have
even seen Bogdanovich.
and then you have Anunoby who just got
Who was
got the
showing us
hamstring.
What type of contributions he can make?
So-
He could be the Robin to Jalen Brunson's Batman on that team.
Yeah. So like I said, unfortunately, it's kind of given them an easy path.
But I mean, we don't have Porzingis too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But I even without Porzingis, I think
I completely agree with you.
even
Completely agree.
without, I mean, we're winning without them.
Considering you used to have one guy out and they have multiple guys
Yeah.
out. New York's banged up, Cleveland's banged up. Like
Yeah.
those two, I admire what they're doing with what they have to work with.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause you can't take 3 contributors off a team and
No.
expect them to perform.
The Knicks are actually like inspirational.
Yeah.
Like when
I've
you
never
watch
been
them,
a Knicks
like,
fan, but I see
Yeah.
myself tuning in. I want to see what Jalen Brunson
Yeah.
do. I liked OG playing with him.
oh, you know who I like is that the guy that's down low a lot.
Oh, the big dude that was
Yeah, but he's not,
Hartenstein?
no. Well, I like him too. I like
Big
him
guy.
too.
What big
yeah,
guy?
Hartenstein is who I thought you
Oh,
were.
Big guy.
What's the other guy there? Where's like a
Oh, that's Hart.
Hart?
You're talking about Hart.
Oh, he's a god.
yeah, he's a guard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
He's
thinking
always
big man,
he
that's-
gets rebounds.
Yeah,
left and
20
right down there.
rebounds.
I say big guy, but it's like
Yeah, it's the Villanova Knicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it obviously.
Nate Victor. Hey, chime in about your Knicks, Nate.
Yeah, obviously it we're kind of getting robbed due to the fact that teams are that are hurt, but you play who
Yeah.
is put
yeah.
in front of you.
Yeah.
But
Can't help but
from
wonder
my
what
point of view, I just see I see lapses in the Celtics which concern me because to me, I don't think that they're truly going to be tested. They might
and
the next round, I think if they were to face the Knicks, I think the physicality in which the Knicks play with, I think would bother them because the Knicks are a blue collar team, which they fight for everything.
Offensive rebounds.
And that's their signature.
Yeah.
It's rebounding.
It'd be nice to have that
number
rivalry
one-
rekindled again.
Number one offensive rebounding team in the league. And this is what they bring. This is what helps them give them second chance points. And how can you not root for a guy that's 6'1", that put up
Got
that-
Massachusetts ties.
that's put up
40 a game.
5 40-point games, the
Yeah.
most since LeBron James.
I mean, I don't know how he's doing it. Like when you watch him play, it's like you got almost like waiting for him to kind of fall off a
And he
little
doesn't
bit.
take bad shots.
No.
He gets to anywhere on the court he wants, and he always has a decent shot at the
Yeah.
end. Like he gets in the paint and that little foul line shot, or goes to the basket and protects. I'm amazed.
It's
how-
like he's like slow in the paint. He's like really methodical, like Joker kind of, and then he scores it every time.
he uses his body well, gets people on
Right.
his hip. He's got people at A, but
Do you know he leads the league in dribbles, like
oh,
Yeah.
like Harden did, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if
in a better way.
in a better way, but I wonder if their team is actually better without Randall. I hate to say like better because Randall's a really good player.
I
However,
think he dominated. He was their leader for a while, and he dominated a lot of shots. Other people, you wouldn't see Josh Hart scoring as much. You wouldn't see DiVincenzo
so
shooting.
what I'm saying though is their team better without another
Efficient-wise,
ball hungry guy? Yes.
Yeah, but they still miss another quality guy in the
Yes.
rotation.
I agree with that.
Because what happens is, and what is happening now is they're logging in 40 plus minutes a game.
Yes.
And the players aren't complaining. I saw the media
Yes.
tried to call them out, and they're like, "It's the playoffs.
No,
We're supposed to play
Anunoby,
like that."
this is what you're seeing because guys, he's only going 7 deep.
Mhm.
So now you're talking about, the starting five is averaging, anywhere between 43 to 44, 45 minutes. That means you're only getting a few minutes a game.
yeah.
He's depending on the the television
Timeouts,
end of the court timeouts, where he's strategically trying to get these guys extra rest time. How far will their bodies be able to go? Because you go
Each
from
round's gonna be
you
four.
go from think about it, right? So during the regular season, you have minimal games where you play back to back, but playing 45 plus minutes in with one day off, that takes a toll on your
Mm.
body. So how far can New York go? We don't know. We'll see. But in any case, I put this question out there as one of our questions for straight to the point. Who would you want to see the Celtics play? New York or Indiana, and why? You can
Well,
answer
just
that.
for the
You can
rivalry,
answer
but
that
Indy
at
gave
first.
him trouble
You can-
during the year too.
Yeah, so-
You can answer that first. I have to go forward the phone. I forgot to put this. So go ahead. You can answer that.
Yeah, Derek.
I think that I would rather play the Knicks. As crazy as that sounds with
what reason?
Brunson, for the reason that you just said, because I feel like
Oh.
Indiana and they give us a hard time,
Yep.
and the Cavs, like those two teams, like we just beat the Cavs, but those two teams, I feel like,
Aces have length.
yep,
They're only down one player. They lost their rookie Benjamin Mathurin, who was playing very well.
Yep.
And he was their sixth man. So they lost one, but when they made those trades for Siakam and who else did they trade for? They made two nice trades, and I was like, oh, my
Siakam's
God.
a good player.
Yeah, and he's blending in well with the veterans like Miles Turner. Halliburton is the perfect fit for them. You remember how upset he was when he got traded because he got drafted by Sacramento and he felt they traded Sabonis, who's not chopped liver, because he was a better fit. They needed a guy to run the team there, and the Kings needed a big man to complement De'Aaron Fox.
I don't even think Halliburton played his best games yet in this series. So if they can find a way to win,
He had one that was
he had one, but
very good.
I don't think he's up to his standard from the regular
But
season.
he's so capable. He's running the team at 6'5".
Right.
God,
He could do
hitting
more.
A high percentage of threes. He's got assist. What else? The only thing I see
He could
him
do more
not doing
scoring.
is his defense might be a little more consistent because I see him getting beat a lot
Yeah.
on defense. But what he brings to that team and what that trade with Siakam, Miles Turner has been rejuvenated. I thought when Sabonis was there, they got in each other's way
Mhm.
because they both wanted to get the ball in the wing and then kind of drive to the hoop. Miles Turner's become better since that trade because by getting rid of Sabonis, you got him a point guard who can get him the ball. And then that trade with Siakam was huge. And they got a coach that knows how to coach.
He's a good coach.
Yeah. But they gave the Bucks a hard time too. I was like, the hell's going on with these
Yeah,
guys?
they got some good scrappy
And that was
plays.
before they traded for Siakam.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, they're one of those teams where they constantly come at you in waves.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like you think about it, they're kind of like the old what was that team that Hank Gathers played for? Loyalty Marymount. They want to get a shot up within 8 seconds. They want to get a shot up within 8 to 10 seconds.
And they don't seem to care who gets the shot off.
Yeah.
The nature of the game is to play fast and get a shot up quick. It's hard to keep up with a team averaging $125 a game.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. So for me, I would say I would rather see them play New York for a couple of reasons. One, because of the rivalry, and Mike put it in there. And two, because the New York Boston rivalry has lost its luster.
Yeah.
We no longer have the Yankees and Red Sox.
Yeah.
And Lord knows how long it's been since the Boston New York has been a rivalry in basketball. And
that's just great for the league.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. You have two of the Northeast powers that are going at it.
Yeah.
Great sport, very knowledgeable as far as sports.
Passionate.
It's great. But I would, once again, I hate to point at this. I think that New York is more susceptible because of the injury thing. I think you got Anunoby hamstring. You could say whatever you want.
Yeah.
For a healthy hamstring, you need rest.
Can't play. Can't try to come back early.
Because all that's going to do is going to flare up at some point in time moving forward. So being healthy for him right now, this is the healthiest he'll probably be. It's the same thing with Porzingis. I don't think you're going to see him any healthier than what he already is.
Is he coming back in the next round, you think?
Oh, yeah, he'll come back.
Porzingis?
Yeah, he'll come back.
I think similar to what we talked about, Brian, with Milwaukee, like they'll keep Giannis out until they lose.
Until they need him.
Come back.
Yeah.
Boston, until they lose a game.
And go behind.
They don't have to bring him back right away. They're maintaining and playing well, but, if they win the first game, they won't bring him back game 2. We'll see him game 3.
Yeah.
And the longer he has, the more effective he's going to be, because at least the more rest he has, I think the more long-term he'll be there.
So as of tomorrow, it will have been 3 full weeks that he has been off. So if the playoffs were to, if the Eastern Conference playoffs go 7 games, he will have had 3.5 weeks off since his last, because it was game 2 of the Cleveland.
So if we don't play him, if he doesn't play like game 1, right? So he could be 4 full weeks.
Yeah, a month.
It could be a month.
Win
so
game 1, there's no need to.
He could be a month in. So yeah. I look at it from that point of view. Indiana, they don't play much defense, and I think that Boston would be a much it'd be a much different game, because if you can't stop Tatum and you can't stop Brown, these guys are going to probably average 30 something points a game, because let's face it, Indiana doesn't play much defense.
Right.
Their thing is get out, shoot, and that could turn against you. It could work for you some games.
That's been that way the whole season. Yeah. And still the Pacers gave the Celtics trouble.
Right. Oh yeah.
The Pacers have been number 1 in the league all year long. And I specifically noticed Boston and Milwaukee struggling with them guys every single time they played each other. I was like, what is it about the Pacers? They seem to have the Bucks number. Then I watch them against the Celtics, and they're getting win. I was like, damn, they're doing the same thing to the Celtics. It's just hard to play that pace.
That's why I think I want to play the New York.
Yeah.
Just to avoid that.
I want to see it because of the rivalry, but also you have an advantage because they're short-handed.
Yeah. So which brings us to our next question. All right. Is anything short of a championship considered a failure for the Celtics? Now, we've talked about the road to the East, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about, the teams being less than 100%, first round, second round, and possibly the third round. I don't think that there has been, not that I can recall, Milwaukee might have been close to it, but I don't even think it's been that close. I think this is the easiest route to the Eastern Conference Finals since I can remember. Probably since the LeBron days, where they were just pretty much beating up on the East. But the Celtics, they really haven't been challenged.
Been tested at all.
Battle tested.
Anything short of, so that is the question. All right. Phone lines open 774-425-2631. Is anything short of a championship considered a failure for the Celtics? Because let's face it, let's be real. Okay. Celtics are my team. Okay. But round 1, no Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Round 2, Donovan Mitchell gone for times. LeVert gone. Jared Allen gone. Round 3, yet to be determined. I mean, we might be getting ahead of ourselves, but there might be some injuries there. So let's also add that this year's team is a lot better than last year's.
Yeah.
Team. You got Porzingis, all right, and you got Drew. So to me, if they don't win a title this year, it's going to be tough, and for more than one reason. The reasons that I stated in my Facebook post, salary cap reasons too. You're going to start losing players. You're going so their window literally is this year and next year. After that, everything gets taken off the table.
You can legitimize the money being spent if they win it this year.
Yeah,
you can at least say, let's run it back for another year. If you don't win it this year, that's a lot of money to have invested, and it will be the second time. And you can't say, well, let's see what I remember, Brian. Let's see what the Jays do together for a couple of years.
Yeah,
but
it's going to be 4 or 5 years together and 0 champions.
Yeah, they've
money's enormous.
They've gone to the Eastern Conference Championship 6 out of 8 years.
Right. So
at what point do you get over the hump?
They're built to win a championship.
So I've been pretty much ostracized for not saying supposedly, I don't say this about the Cowboys, but no, that's wrong. I do say.
I've heard you say negative stuff about the Cowboys.
So listen, you want me to give you a great comparison, and I hate using it because they're my teams. So if the Boston Celtics were not to win, if they were not to win this year, all right, that'll be 6 out of 8 years Eastern Conference Final, and only one of them in which they proceeded to the finals.
Only one time.
Only one time.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell you 1 out of 6 is not a good.
That's right.
That's not a good
right.
unless you're batting, unless you're
right.
batting average, right? So 1 out of 6 is not good.
Yeah.
They will literally be the Dallas Cowboys of the first round, but in basketball in the Eastern Conference Championship.
Yeah.
And it hurts me to say that because they're both my teams. It's a comparison that I don't want to make, but you know what? Like I said, if you can't honestly and truly criticize your team and they do this, they do that, we won. You got to look at some negative too, because eventually it's going to come back and it's going to rear its head. And this is where we're at. So for me, yes, if they don't win this year, it's a failure.
It's a failure to me.
It's a failure.
And not just look at the regular season they had.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at the play. You mentioned Porzingis. I'm going to say, look at the step that Derek White made. So yes, we had him on our team last year, but it seems like he took a really big step up. So that's almost not like on
the offensive and defense.
Yes, yes, he's doing it all out there.
Teams have 6'5" guys that are interchangeable at point guard and off guard and play both ends.
Yeah.
If you're guard heavy on another team, boy, that's not a good matchup to play because you got 2 guys you can rotate on that are going to give you fits. I hated losing Drew Holiday. You know what I hated more? I was like, they went out to Portland. And they freaking bastards turned around and traded him to the Celtics.
Yeah. You knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but I was like, to the Celtics, I know the value of Drew Holiday. I wish we never traded Drew Holiday. I liked him a lot. But the fact of getting Dame Lillard was a tease. But I saw the big difference on one end of the floor.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I never thought Dame meshed with – I never had problems with Drew Holiday meshing with Giannis.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't for me, they have a way better team. And to not finish the deal, 6 out of 8 years would be, for me, it would be a failure.
I completely agree.
And not only would it be a failure, I get that Mazzulla was handpicked by Brad Stevens, but
he was a third choice. They lost their top assistant.
But no, he was picked, and the bottom line, he's picked.
Yeah, he was like the third assistant.
He could have gone outside of the organization. He could have done a lot of things, but he didn't. So I get that it's his guy, but at what point if they were to lose again this year, at what point do you say maybe he isn't the right guy?
He's gone. To me, he's gone if they don't win
He
it,
has to be. He has
or
to be.
or game 7 of the finals
He
or
was
something.
handed a championship team, and they made it even better now.
So I look at it this way, all right? The Celtics had they had far less when Ime was coaching.
But he was a better coach.
All right.
I'd feel so much better if he was coaching.
But this is the thing, right?
Yeah,
So
respect him.
there is huge contrast in their coaching style.
Mhm.
You had one which was a
Defense-oriented.
defensive orientated guy. Didn't put it, obviously didn't put into let's get 45 plus 3-pointers every
Yeah.
game. He wanted to take the best shots that were available. And he was kind of an in-your-face guy.
Crack down on you.
Held you accountable.
Yep.
Therefore, he had to respect the players.
And he was
They didn't
more
challenge him.
and he was more of I would say a tactician in the way he coached. Mazzulla, people, including his own players, have called his style random.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as if they run a lot of set plays at the end of games. Even when they have the lead, it turns out to one guy dribbling the ball, holding the ball for 7 seconds, and then they go into an ISO.
So that's the thing, and I think this is coaching though. But like during the regular season, I saw them like passing the ball a lot. Like they look like Golden State back in the day. Now look in the playoffs, it seems like there's a lot of like isolation, jacking up.
Going back to the
Yeah.
old roots.
From the time they played Golden State in the championship, the ISO ball to me was the biggest thing, and relying on the three so much was the biggest thing.
Right.
Yeah. So at some point in time that, and I put that once again, I put that in my Facebook post, and I got a lot of pushback because it's like, why are you worried about it? They're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're winning because of who they're playing right now. You win, no matter who comes out of the West, they're going to be a better team than what they faced so far. And if it's Denver, they already know what it takes to be a championship team.
And
Their stars have been in that position, and they're deeper.
And they've also beat Boston twice during the regular season.
And Jokic is a bad matchup for everybody, but especially the Celtics.
Oh yeah,
because he can bully ball them. He can bully his way to the basket, and they don't have nobody physical enough to stop him.
Plus, I think
Plus,
that
he makes everybody better.
I think their point guard is underrated.
Yeah,
Jamal
Murray.
Yeah.
if he stays healthy, and Michael Porter made a big jump up. Remember all those back concerns the
Oh,
last
yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
And last year they go to the championship, and this year they stubbed their toe with the first 2 games. But I think they're gonna win 4 in a row now. You know, like Michael Porter is underrated. He was projected to be the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years before he even got to college.
Had that
He
injury.
those back problems, and people shied off. And Denver got him at like number 11 or 13 or something. And
All right, so seeing that we're talking about Denver, we'll just skip on over to the West. So tonight, Denver travels to Minnesota for Game 6 after falling behind 2 games.
Yeah.
losing both at home.
Yes, and losing convincingly. It wasn't
But
like
then what happened?
It
They went on
wasn't-
the road and won.
It wasn't.
convincingly.
It wasn't as if they were losing by. At one point, one of the games they were losing by 35.
The second game.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were losing by 35.
Yep.
So the first game, I believe, they lost by high double digits, 17-18. The second game, they lost by 20 something. Only to turn around and win 3 games in a row now. So they traveled to
The last game, they
Minnesota
won by
tonight.
30 something, right?
They won by the last game they won by.
Was it like 120 to 91?
I think they won by 14 or 15.
Yeah, it was. I think so.
And it might have been the game before.
Um,
I know
yeah,
they
the
beat them
game
by
before
30
that.
something.
Yeah, the
right
game
after they
before that,
lost
the
by
game,
30 something.
game 4, they won big. But this is where I don't think anybody right now has a great answer. Minnesota thought they had the answer by
They
letting
had both.
by letting Kyle Anthony Towns cover him and letting Rudy
Need help.
roam.
Yeah.
So what do? They put those guys in motion.
Yeah.
They put them in motion. That's all you do. What you do is you put them in motion. You get one guy on the weak side of the floor, and the rotation is now it's skewed. Unless you're going to play a zone, you can't do it. So, they were boasting about it, and this is great. We can let him roam. And they said, okay, all right, you got that.
Do you think they get cocky?
I
mean-
think I think
They won game 2 without the big guy.
Without
Yes.
Gobert.
So then
Well,
they're up 2-0.
Yeah.
He comes back.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do they kind of feel like,
Well, I just think I think I want to say the fact that Minnesota was playing with a lot of confidence. Okay, and Edwin was killing him. And I don't think we I think that defense did bother them the first two games because a Jokic and Murray in one game combined only for 26 points.
right?
With Murray.
Yeah,
Remember, he nicked up his ankle in the Lakers series.
Yeah, calf.
I don't think he was full strength in the first couple of games.
No.
And with time, even though he was playing, when time went on and he got a couple of days of rest, when he got back to full strength, we saw the turnaround. I mean, yes, there was a sense of urgency. You lost 2 at home.
Yep.
But unlike what we talked about with the Cleveland situation with Jared Allen, maybe Murray decided to numb it or whatever, but he knew he had to play.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his value to the team.
Yeah.
And once he was able to play and contribute, they're a different team. And you know what I like about Denver? I saw one of the announcers pointing out too. They interview Jokic, and he heaps all the praise on Murray. They talk to Murray, he heaps all the praise on Jokic.
Yeah.
Like, they both
humble.
respect so much. Yeah. And then they still got Michael Porter. The only thing I'm worried about Denver's team this year and last year is they don't have the same depth because they don't have a Bruce Brown. And they don't have somebody else.
That kid Braun.
The other kid Braun. Yeah, but
well.
he's only in his second year.
He's playing well.
Starting to. But Bruce Brown was so energetic. Like, he came into the game and just energized the team. He was a shutdown defensive player. He got out in transition. He caused havoc on defense. But they were a little deeper. I can't remember who else they lost.
I know. Yeah.
They lost 2 guys from their rotation. So Braun and somebody, I think, who's the well-traveled point guard that's coming off the bench for them? He has to play good. The backup point guy that's comes in for Murray.
Yeah, they got like 7 guys that contribute. It's the same effect that you said Miami had. Mm-hmm. They won the championship. Their bench got depleted a little bit with, trades, free agency.
But I can't remember the point guard's name. He's been around a few teams and he's done well everywhere else. But he's found a home in Denver. But Denver has the ingredients and the know-how of what it takes to be
a coach. They have a great coach too.
Knows how to utilize them, and they do have a home court advantage, even though they lost the first 2 games playing in that Mile High area. Yeah,
Oh, you're talking about Jackson?
Yes, Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson. I'm just excited.
And asked to do a lot, but as a person that stabilizes the second unit with Braun.
Yep. I'm excited that there's no early game today, so they actually play at 8:30, which is like reasonable.
Yeah, it's normally late.
Because I tell Brian all the
normally
time,
late.
I watched the 7:30 game and struggled to get to the end. I watched the first quarter, and then next thing I know, I'm getting up to go to the bathroom at like 2:45.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm watching the bottom line to see who won.
The West has the better game, the better series, I feel, and those games come on at
but it's hard because people are still at work at 8:30. They're coming, you get out of work at 5. They're on the freeway trying to get home.
Right? No, I get it. Yeah,
they have to have those late.
But I get the time. It's just for here,
Why do you think that happened? Because that's a whole nother conversation. It's all about the almighty dollar.
Oh, it's money. Yeah, it's money.
Because the league's going to make more money.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I want to bring up with, since we're talking about Jamal Murray. What about when he threw the heating pack on the court? Not once, twice.
He should have got suspended.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Why not?
That was the money decision.
Because it would have killed the ratings, because Nuggets wouldn't have been. So why
they would be down.
The NBA is selling their soul for ratings.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it. There's when they show the other teams that aren't playing, like LeBron and all them, commenting in like they do on the fight, and every single play was like, he's not getting suspended. This is BS because of the NBA would be the loser. We can't afford to suspend him because of ratings.
If it was a bench player, suspended.
Yeah. If there was a coach suspended.
Yeah.
But you can't take the number 2. You can't take Robin away from Batman, especially after they already lost, because he did it in the second game, didn't he? When they lost their second game?
Yes, it was game 2.
So he would have been suspended
for game 3
to Minnesota.
Yeah. Back to the question that one of you said. I think that there was an adjustment made, coaching wise, as far as how they were getting played, how to get those guys in motion, and how to get them from stopping the roam. It's ball movement. It's to get them in action, and basically, it all starts from the corner. You got to get one guy to commit to the corner with a quick swing, quick pick and roll on the opposite side. Now he's got to come all the way over from the opposite side. And if he does that, now you swing the ball and you get the guy in the corner for a 3. it's been working because who's the kid there with the dreads? What's his name? I always forget his
For
name.
Denver?
Yeah, the with the
Michael
dreads.
Porter?
No, the one the ex junk.
Oh, Reggie
contest.
Jackson.
No, Dunk. No, Reggie Jackson's the guy.
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon. He's been
That's the
killing
guy I
it.
forgot in their
He's been
rotation.
he's
They
been
got
he-
four guys.
he's been killing that corner jumper, and that's most crucial because that's the guy that he's coming off of. So you come off that guy. That guy has a standalone jump shot right there, and that's the adjustment that they've made.
That's a good point. But the other thing that Aaron Gordon's also contributing is he's the bailout when somebody drives to the basket.
Oh, yeah,
He's throwing at the
yeah.
rim and
He's
he
a
jumps
dunker.
over everybody.
He's in the dunking spot.
Yep.
So he just all he does is
It's always a good pass 'cause
he
can out-jump
hovers
everybody.
he hovers behind the backboard to the left or to the right. So Joker always knows that he's there. It's just a matter of how he's going to give him the pass. Is he gonna go like this? Is he going to
Yep,
do one of
or
these,
Murray.
or is he just
Yep.
going to lob it?
It's so difficult to double team
Yeah, it
plays in the
is.
NBA
It
because
is.
someone's going to bail you out.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot of it was a lot of the credit has to go to the coaching, and I think it's a combination of both the coaching and the players. I think the pride kicked in.
Yeah, I feel like they have a starting five comparable to the Celtics.
I think the pride kicked in, and they said, "Listen, you know what? One game at a time, and we've been here before. We know how to do it."
Yep.
And I think it was like the perfect storm that came together. And I still believe that they're going to win. Even when they were down 0-2, I said, don't let them get two when they get back home. I mean, don't let them get two. When they get in Minnesota, and that's exactly what happened. I think the snowball has rolled, and they've gained so much momentum. And it's just one of those things now. I don't know if Minnesota has what it takes in the experience or the way of talent to resuscitate them in order to come back.
So my last thing with this is, do you think that, because I remember after like the first two games, like people started saying like Michael Jordan and the Ant. Do you think that was in his head? Was there too much talk about that?
I don't think so. I just think people were basing the comparisons that were obvious, the athletic ability, the highlight films. Like he was doing some amazing physical feats that we haven't seen from a lot of people.
Yeah, like all season long, besides game 1 and 2. I totally agree with you.
He's not on national TV, and that was the first time the audience got to see.
Yeah,
his
gotcha.
talent.
Yep.
He's been doing it.
Yep.
We see the highlights. Oh my God, you see the dunk, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
He's not in prime time. His games are on late. Like we're talking about, we can't stay up to watch those games or whatever. He's been doing that all year, but now he's getting the exposure.
Hey, he's another humble dude.
Yeah,
I love
listening to him. Love listening to him.
Happy-go-lucky about it.
Yeah.
Hey, we won 2 in Denver. We're not supposed to win in Denver. We're 2, and somebody told us we were 2-2 at the end of 4 games.
Yeah.
We would have been happy.
He took the blame last time. Took it upon himself.
Blame
You know what I
on me.
mean? It's like he's a good guy.
This is this is what a lot of athletes should take this script and run with it. I watched what's so funny? You look at Rudy Gobert when he does his interview, and you watch Edwards. Edwards was like, put the loss on me. I do what I need to do. Gobert, we need to do this better. We need to do that better. We need to do, something? You're the reigning
Defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year. Maybe you need to step your game.
Yeah.
Maybe
Who's killing you
need
the
to
most?
play.
Oh, the center.
Oh yeah, the guy that dropped 40 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's funny because Draymond Green said, you got this guy speaking his native language. We. He said when it should be I. I'm the guy that who's getting torched. 8 out of 9. I think it was 8 out of the 9 one-on-one situations where Rudy. He was 8 out of 9, where he scored 8 out of 9 times on him.
Yeah.
When they were just one-on-one matchups. If you're the defensive player of the year, that can't happen.
Yeah, that can't happen. Even how good Joker is, it still really can't happen.
No, it can't happen. If you're supposed to be that, good,
how is he beating me? How do I take away? There's a lot to try to take away from Joker, but he could slow him down.
Yeah, but I my one takeaway from that is, you've got a young player who, typically you don't see young players, use that approach.
Yeah.
And he took it right on the chest. That was my fault.
Yeah.
I didn't get up enough shots. I wasn't aggressive enough. There's a lot more that I could have done to help my team. And that is a rarity these days. Most players will, they'll bail out we. For someone to take away from the team, the distraction of the team, so a lot of the other guys can, exhale. I was to blame. He took everything and put it on himself.
Plus, I hear him like put the praise on everyone else too,
Yeah.
because he could take a lot of that praise,
It's
but
the same thing we just said about the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Both those teams in that series
Yeah.
have except for Rudy Gobert, have no problem acknowledging the contributions of other people and taking the limelight off them to shine it on their teammates. And you need that. You don't want your teammates feeling like everybody's only giving credit. Now there's going to be resentment. He's keeping his team involved. He's showing what it takes to be a leader by taking the blame. Hey, we'll get him next time. But he's building up his teammates and he's taking the blame to shield his teammates. That's imperative.
Yeah. Phone lines are open, 774-425-2631. Feel free to call in and chime in about what we've been talking about, which is the NBA playoffs, or something that you might want to talk about. Feel free. We welcome all the phone calls. Like I said, phone lines are open. The number's scrolling down at the bottom, 774-425-2631. All right, so can we switch?
OKC?
Okay, yeah, we need to switch it up. Dallas defeated KC last night in Game 5 to take a 3-2 win over OKC. This series has been very.
I look forward to the Western Conference series, no matter who's.
Me too.
It's been very
and
disjointed.
The West would be more battle tested than whoever comes.
It's been because, as I said in the beginning, every time you thought that a team was going to take it by the throat and run with it, the other team comes up out of nowhere and snatches it up from defeat goes to victory.
Still playing, have the talent to do that.
I don't think OKC has the experience.
And they're playing
right.
With talent, and they're happy to be there.
Yeah,
they were still the number.
I mean,
they very tough.
They had a great player, could have been an MVP.
Yeah,
but I think they're still young. The rest of them.
Well, here's the thing: they got 3 great players, right? Only SGA has maintained his level of play. Holmgren's fallen off the last month of the season and into the playoffs. And Jalen Williams was their second leading scorer, and he's not putting up the point. They're not getting the help for SGA. He's showing why he was an MVP.
Yeah, but that
the other 2 are not living up to.
Yeah, but Holmgren, I think he had a great regular season, but he's still young.
Yes.
And, playoff basketball is different.
When it comes to rebounds and block shots, his numbers have – he was going head-for-head with Victor the whole season, and then the last month.
The thing is,
his numbers dropped. I don't know if he got tired.
The thing is, too, is I told when we talked about OKC at the trade deadline, they were one of my disappointments because I said, and this is habitual as a young player, Holmgren wants to go after everything. When you go after everything, what happens?
Foul trouble.
Yeah,
that's one. Or you're letting the other team go to the front of the rim. So all you got to do is if he goes to go block the shot, whoever's run to the front of the rim. You're getting offensive rebounds.
My man's open.
If you look at, they're getting killed on the offensive boards. And this was their weakness during the regular season. Holmgren at this point, he needs to, because he likes to try to block everything, and that's typical for a young player. At some point, you need to decide when and what to go after. We've witnessed it all with greats such as Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo. They pick and chose when they were going to go after something, because when you do go after something, you're giving up something when you miss, and that's offensive rebounds. And that's where I thought they needed the help. They have great wings, but when it comes to their bigs, they're weak there. He's light, can be pushed around a lot, and they don't typically have a good backup for him. And at the trading deadline, they were one of the people that I thought that needed to invest in a big man, somebody that was going to come in and give them, a quality 6 to 7 minutes while he's on the bench, and they don't have that. Coupled with the experience, granted, they were, for the last 2 seasons, their plus win percentage, plus 16 from the year before, plus 17 last year,
and it's not going to stop. I mean, I think
they're only going to give it.
Yeah, their future.
Their future is great because they have so many draft
picks coming up.
They're going to fall into the same pitfall that they had when they had Durant.
So everybody eventually,
like the Celtics now. It's a good same thing.
So what you have to do is you have to hit on those guys. At the time, Danny Ainge was perfect. He was perfect. He hit, he hit on, he chose the right two guys. We've seen in some cases,
Philly.
we've seen in some cases where you always don't, you might have access to those guys, but you choose another guy over that guy, and then later down on the road, you see that guy, and you're like, oh my god, how did I let
we could have had him.
And Danny Ainge, he hit on the two J's. He stood fast and he let those guys go. There was a lot of guys that were guards that didn't pan out, and they let him go. Or they use them for different pieces to
Trade
bring
bait,
veterans come in. And that's what ultimately you have to make a decision. In the day and the age, once again, of the Supermax, and the reason why I put this post up, the Celtics, the reason why I put the post up of the Celtics being in this position, they are the first team to ultimately have two Supermax guys under the new CBA contract.
Mm-hmm.
No team has ever done this.
Yeah.
Teams have had max guys, but no two teams have had two guys in consecutive years. All right, because last year was the first year.
Right.
This is the second year.
Philly?
No.
Oh, because I say Embiid and Harden were there, but they weren't Supermax.
No,
yet.
max guys. So those guys.
They were max.
They're not Supermax. They're max guys. And no team has had this. And this is the task ahead with the Celtics. So Jaylen Brown is now consuming 35% of their salary. All right. After next year, it'll be the same thing with Jason Tatum. 35%. That's 70% of your team.
That's crazy.
That's not counting Drew Holiday or Porzingis. So once you get those two guys, and you're talking about almost 85%, almost close. I think it's 87%. So now you have to pay all the rest of those guys $2 million a year.
Yeah.
But somebody like a House is emerging.
You're not going to be able
He's
to.
going to want money.
Yeah.
That's going to be like a Max Strus thing. He's going to go somewhere else.
And I stated this before. So Hauser and Derek White are both free agents after next year. The Celtics won't even be in the unless
they want to take a hometown discount.
I think they might trade. They might trade one of the Jays.
And that was my point.
If they don't win, I think that's what happens.
And this was my point. So I think, obviously, you keep they will want
Tatum,
the younger guy, and let go of Brown. If you can flip that guy, now you might be able to retain some pieces.
Yes.
And then add another piece.
Yes.
With that. But as currently constricted, it's going to be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's the reason why I put it up. I didn't put it up to be a Debbie Downer. I'm looking at the future.
Yeah.
I see what we have now. I see everything that's going on. And I'm already looking at the future. And that's the reason why I put the post up.
You know what's challenging too is if the general manager potentially tries to trade him, and then it doesn't work out. Now it's maybe some like dissension in the locker room. You know what I mean? So that's
Brown went through that before he signed his big contract.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I've had a prediction for the whole part of this year. As soon as I knew what the super max contract and Celtics having too, if they don't win this year, it'll be Jaylen Brown that leaves, and he'll go to one of two teams: Atlanta, his hometown, or Houston, because Ime loves him,
right,
and wants an established leader to lead that young front. He'll go to one of those two teams because they'll be willing to absorb it. They have the money too.
So, also, what you have to take into account is when you trade a supermax, you have to get back in return with matching salaries. That is, and a lot of people don't understand the salary cap. The supermax was created for two reasons. Number one, to give the veterans an upper hand on
stay with your team
and to stay with your team longer. Also to reward guys who've been drafted by the original team. It's an incentive to stay and play. So if they have managed to keep you for up to or leading into your the 8th year, it's an incentive,
right? Which
also is it cuts away from making super teams. Right. Okay, so only that team can. It basically is saying you stay with your team. We're going to reward you, and you can make as much as 15% over what any other team can make
Pay you.
give you.
Yep.
So it's an incentive, but it's also there to stop players from jumping to teams to make super teams.
Right.
The LeBron effect.
Yes. And a lot of people don't seem to get that. But it has its good points and it has its bad points. We're seeing the bad. It might seem good that you have two guys that are on Supermax, but what does it do for the rest of the roster?
Right. I completely agree.
Okay. So that was the reason why I put that up. But back to Dallas and OKC. So
Luka.
it's
I have so much more.
off and on. You know what?
He's complaining a little less, and his talent speaking more, but he's still complaining.
But you know what? You know what's weird? It's like a good game, a bad game, a good game, a bad game.
That 3/4 pass though,
Yeah.
alley-oop.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that was incredible.
Yeah.
But it's like, can we get one team to play two good games? Because it's been a good game, a bad game, a good game, a bad game. Are we gonna fall into that trap? For this next game, are we gonna fall into a bad game where the other team catches up? Now you're tied 3-3 and you're going into a 7th game. It's been so herky jerky for me. And even in the way of so people were like, oh yeah, well, when Luka doesn't score, you got Kyrie picking it up. You know what? I look at it this way: in order for them to be an NBA champion, they both have to learn to play with one another, just as the Jays.
They've done that.
Yeah, they've come a long way.
And I
Just
respect
with the
Kyrie
Jays
so
too.
much for that because he's always wanted to be the alpha.
Yep.
And he's allowing Luka to be the alpha.
Well, it's his team.
Yeah,
there's no
but
getting over that.
Kyrie never had the maturity to do that.
Yeah.
When he played with LeBron, even though he was young, he wanted more. He wanted to show he could win without LeBron rather than, be a part of a championship.
But
I want to show you I can do it without you.
Yeah, and he's still getting his though. Like Luka's the man, but he's still playing really well.
But that, and then the other thing that I love is in the past, Dallas has been a graveyard for defense. What did they do? They went out and traded for Gafford,
Yeah.
and they drafted the best big man, Lively, last year.
Those
best
two guys,
defensive
yeah,
player.
those two guys are playing great.
Lively didn't have the impact in college you wanted offensively, but he was a great defensive player,
Yeah.
rebounder, right? Shot blocker. So now you've shored up those two. Now you have interior defense.
Yep.
You can stop people, and now people can't stop Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah.
And then who else they got playing good? Or the athlete that was in the dunk contest there. Derek. Is it Derek?
For
Derek
who?
Brown? For Dallas.
No, I can't. I know. I just.
But he was in a dunk
I'm so
contest
bad with
2 years
names.
ago.
Yeah.
He's a crazy athlete. But he's contributing. But the maturity of Kyrie and the addition of those two bigs that gives them defense, inside presence, them guys are following up and getting the alley-oops like we were talking about with other teams. They just got to go to the rim and Luka or Kyrie finds them.
I mean, plus I feel their coach has gotten a little bit better too.
About Jones.
Derek Jones.
Their coach has gotten a little better too.
Yeah.
He's learned.
Right.
It's weird because you think about Dallas and even throughout the regular season, you knew they were there, but they were like hovering.
Yeah.
They were like hovering. They weren't really convincing.
5th seed, right?
Yes.
I didn't think they
weren't really
with the other
convincing.
top 3 teams.
I didn't either.
And they're showing different.
Yeah.
The way they handled the Clippers were formidable.
Yeah.
And they handled them. And now what they're doing.
I think Dallas is gonna win tonight, and I think it's gonna be a great series with potentially with Denver.
So who do you guys? We all, I'm pretty sure, believe Boston's coming out of the East.
Yeah.
Who do we have coming out of the?
I mean, I still have to go with Denver. They have, I think ultimately they have the best 1-2 combo on the inside and the outside. And they play well together. They have, it's like, the left knows what the right
Experience.
Yes, they have that, and I think, like I said, Luka and Kyrie is more so an out guys. When you need that for sure play, you can dink it down low anytime you want. To Joker, or you can just play 2 with him. Pick your poison. Who you want. You fall back off the off of the pick and roll, and then you got a guy hitting a jumper, or doing something. You know what? You double him, then you got to deal with Joker. It's just one of those things. I think they have the West, like you said, they have the experience, and I think they have the more polished parts.
Personally, I like to see the Celtics play Dallas because of the just like we want to see the Knicks, right? The rivalry. Luka's one of the best players in the league. Kyrie coming back to Boston.
Ooh.
I think it would be such a great series.
I think Boston can handle Dallas, though. I think Boston's greatest challenge will come from Denver, just because nobody in the league has figured out how to stop Joker.
Yeah.
No.
And not only is he dominating, he's got double figures in rebounds. He's making double figures in assists.
Triple doubles. I mean, just
So what do you stop? You take away his scoring, you make somebody else better. Those outlet passes are crazy.
I think in order to beat Denver, is you might have to sacrifice to let Joker score 40 and then take away everybody else to keep them off rhythm.
Yeah.
I think that I don't see no other way. I don't see any other way, because if you let him get 40 points, he's not getting his 12. He's not getting 12 assists. They're not getting jumpers. They're out of rhythm. They're not touching the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I won't say that it'll work, but I don't see no other way. Really.
I mean, our point guard, the kid from Milwaukee, he's gonna have to try to lock up Denver's point guard.
But he'll do a good job at it.
Right.
He has the same size. Murray 6'4", Holiday 6'5", but Holiday's stronger. And I think he won't allow Murray to get where he wants as easily. Murray's still good enough to go where he wants.
Speculating.
And White can switch
well,
on.
that's what I was gonna say. If they were to go, I think you would see both of them taking their turn
down.
Yeah.
Because you've got one guy that's ultimately bigger who could like block a shot, and then you got another guy who's not going to let you get to your spot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a good combination, but the X factor would be Joker.
The Joker has the ball above everyone, and he just finds that guy cutting to the basket.
Yeah, he's the definition of a point center.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other ways, and he's a great passer. And there's no way around it. I mean, there isn't.
He's like Larry Bird sometimes, no look, bounce pass right to an open man.
Yeah.
Without having physical, athletic ability, and it still dominates everybody. The people that are bigger than him, the people that are stronger. Well, there's not a lot of people stronger than him. The people who are faster can jump higher. It doesn't matter. He finds a way to beat you.
All right. So we missed. Obviously, we skipped over we missed the Knicks and the Pacers. Knicks and Pacers. 3-2, heading back to Indiana, and it seems like this is nobody can win away from home. If the trend continues as it has, then we'll see a Game 7. And I think with every game that goes on, I think it probably will, in the end, probably favor Indiana, because with Anunoby coming back, I just don't.
He's only doing light work right now.
Yeah,
he's not even close to coming back.
They said pool. They said he was in the pool.
Yeah.
When you get out of the pool and you get onto the court, that's when you're
light impact training.
So yeah,
tell me he's not available till the next round.
Yeah. I think the Knicks are going to pull this out, even if it goes 7 games, just because I feel like they have something special going on in Madison Square Garden.
Home court advantage.
Yes, I think they're gonna,
down to Game 7, and
if
all the celebrities are there, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's like the East Coast version of LA.
Yeah.
You see all the celebrities.
That's why
and everything.
I'd love for the Celtics to play them, because I think it'll just be a great theater.
Yeah. And it's wild because you look at the Celtics, they had a lot of celebrities in the building.
Right.
They had Russell Wilson and Ciara there. I don't know why, but they were there. But he's been traveling out to all the games.
Yeah.
He's been on the West Coast. Now he's been on the East Coast. They've had a number of guys sitting, courtside. It's wild. It's good. It's good.
The playoffs. He's gonna make a phone call. I can't make that phone call, but they can.
It's crazy. It's not just a personal preference. That's part of their business for exposure. You want to be seen at all popular events.
Right.
Yeah. But so if the trend continues, Game 6, which will be tomorrow, will be interesting. You know, obviously Indiana at home is a very different team, and New York at home is a very different team. It's whoever can either hold trend or whoever can break the trend.
Yeah.
Obviously, is going to come out on top.
Yeah.
I think Indiana will prevail at home. The key for New York, if they want to win, is not to fall behind. Both of those games, they were like literally out of it by the second quarter. First game, the game was game 4. Yeah, game 4. The game was over in the first quarter.
Yep.
You know, they were down by 20 points in the first quarter. But I think if they want to, you know, win in Indiana, they have to get out quick, play from ahead, or play in the same area code.
Mhm.
You know, you don't want to get down double digits. To have Jalen Brunson to come and bail you out time after time after time, at some point it's going to run out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I take my hat off to those 3 guys. You know, the Villanova Knicks. They've done a great job. You know, as we mentioned before, if Julius Randle's there, Hot wouldn't be starting.
Right.
He doesn't
Right.
start. He doesn't get to shine now. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing because once again, I don't know where he's at in his contract.
Right.
But when his contract comes up, there's going to be teams that are going to come knocking.
Right.
You know,
I
because
think that if you're a Knicks fan, you'd rather have the combination of OG Anunoby and the big guy Mitchell Robinson more than having Randall back because they're going to contribute in areas that Randall can't contribute in. They can find Brunson and even the other Villanova. They found people who can put the ball in the hoop. But OG's a 3-and-D guy. You know, he gets out on the break. He shuts other people down. He brings energy. And then you got Robinson, who gives them interior presence on both offense and defense. So I think if you had those 2 guys, New York's formidable, even without Randall.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So Nate is saying OG is out of the pool. Nate, how close is he to getting back on the court? That is the question. With a hamstring, I mean, listen, anything running and jumping is detrimental.
Impact, man.
Anything running or jumping is detrimental to a hamstring.
Yeah.
I mean, all it takes is one lunge and boom, there you go again. And this time it may come back worse. There's nothing. I mean, rest is the only thing that typically, cures that.
Not this series.
So you don't expect him back this series? Okay.
So we anticipate.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things that you know, you hope for time, but once you get in the playoffs, it's every other day, with the exception of a travel day. You might get an extra day, but it's just one of those things that your time is not on your side.
Should they advance, they'll depend on him defensively more than offensively because he's going to have to play one of the Jays, and he'll probably do a good job slowing them down, not stopping them, but he's their best answer to trying to neutralize one of the Jays. And without that, that's a lot of pressure on the Knicks to, you know, not be able to stop one of the Jays and then have one less guy in the rotation. But I'm hoping they get him back. Is Anderson gone for the year? I knew he was out for like 2 months.
Who?
Mitchell.
Yeah, he's done.
He's done for the whole
Mr. Robinson's done, yeah.
He was out long term in the regular
Yeah,
season.
and he came back.
Came back for the playoffs,
Yeah.
and I was glad to see him back.
Yeah, no, and he got hurt again.
Shape and contributing.
Yeah.
He got hurt again.
And then, but that's the idea of not making the same mistake with OG or any other injured player in the playoffs. Porzingis, don't bring him back.
Yeah, if you go
early.
long-term goals with these players, right? You can't.
They probably could have gotten through the first round of the playoffs without him, and then he might have been in better shape for the second round.
Right.
But he still was out long term, and he tried to play. I commend him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't ready. You don't miss 2-3 months of the season and then come back and jump. You're not even in shape.
Yeah, it's like I said, time is definitely not on your side once you hit the playoffs. Every other day.
Yeah.
Every other day, and unfortunately, you just don't have the time. And something, like I said, something to the nature of a calf, a hamstring, a sprained ankle is almost better than one of those two,
Right?
You know, because a sprained ankle you can wrap up and you can, you can heat ice. But those injuries are tricky because those are it's one of those things where you just go jump or you go move and boom, there it goes. Whereas a sprained ankle, you can literally wrap up,
Yep.
and stop it from going left and right. But it's just tough. It's tough. But this is where we're at. Every team, to some degree, has injuries. Some worse than others. But this is what you play for.
You see
right?
Nate's last comment? I didn't know that's how he got hurt. I just thought it was an injury.
Yeah, that was the whole thing when
I
he pulled
remember
his
that.
when he pulled it wasn't his initial injury. It was the Embiid thing. And he came back and he literally played that series and into this series. I want to say game 1 or game 2. It might have been game 1, and then that was it. But when he was coming in, you could see him limping.
Yeah.
You could see him limping. So it wasn't no surprise, but it just sucks because them out of all teams, I mean, they are decimated. Having 4 guys out, and possibly a 5th with Anunoby, who's close.
Can I add one thing about Jalen Brunson? Well, no, here's a guy that Dallas got rid of him. He signs with New York, and I was thinking, holy shit, they're giving him $40 million or something. He like overpaying for this guy, some maybe leadership, whatever. Now he's underpaid, I feel, right? And opportunity in life comes to New York, is now a star player.
I don't think Dallas got rid of him. I think Dallas couldn't afford him.
Well, okay, whatever the case may be, yeah.
Because when Luka was out, he showed us
in the playoffs, in the playoffs.
But he got too expensive in a smaller market like Dallas as opposed to New York, who could give him the money,
afford it,
pry him away. And
well, you do realize, you do know the story behind all that, right? So his dad is obviously an assistant coach.
Yeah, he was
all right.
Nick Stafford.
His dad is an assistant coach, and the big to do about it was Dallas was going to talk to him, and so Dallas tried to get New York for tampering because they were saying the dad was speaking earlier than what it needed to be. So they were adamant that there was tampering going on. He went. He
already made up his mind.
He already made up his secret.
Yeah. The father was already there.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
His dad is an assistant.
Story,
yeah. His dad is an assistant. So the big thing was like, Dallas was going to try to match whatever he got, but it was like, no, one sign, I'm done and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, hold on, there had to have been tampering going on. That was the big thing for a long time. But
you didn't hear his name brought up with any other team.
No.
It was either stay in Dallas or go to New York.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where he knew that he could go to New York, and because they didn't have a point guard, they didn't have a guy, and he could showcase his talents. And
it was still a big risk on the Knicks spot too.
Yeah,
because he's an undersized guy, and you're paying him. Nate saying $100 million.
Yeah, where did I get $40 million from? Was that his Dallas contract?
It's $40 million over like 3 years.
Yeah,
so,
I forget what it is.
Yeah,
but yeah, he got. Everybody said it. There were a lot of people that was looking at the Knicks sideways. A lot of people were looking at the Knicks sideways, like, oh my god, this is you give it to this dude.
Yeah,
the dude didn't even start in Dallas.
Yeah.
And he made it. It could have been a one season wonder where he did what he did in the playoffs, but ultimately it's panned out. It worked out well for them. The Knicks, they have a lot to look forward to because both they and Philly have the luxury of draft picks and money moving into next year.
They're going to be free agent destinations. People
Yes.
want to go
Yes.
Right.
and they can still get paid. But people like them, I still think Miami, even Dallas, they're already on the cusp of they're already good.
Yeah.
But they get another piece to that.
Right.
Brian said they got draft picks.
Yeah.
There's not a great draft, but that can add depth. But you can go out and get yourself a free agent that can make an impact right away and hope that one of these young kids develop in a draft. Or trade the draft picks this year and take a chance when the draft's bigger down the road.
Yeah, so
in good shape.
The Knicks, that series, like I said, it's first to hold the trend or first to break the trend is going to win. I still firmly believe that Indiana, they play differently at home than they do on the road. And I think that series will go 7, which is beneficial to the Celtics because that'll give Porzingis Porzingis almost an extra week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it'll go 7 games. But yeah, it's just one of those things where wait and see. We don't know, but we'll wait and see. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the whole saga, what's going on at TNT. And we'll dive into to the WNBA. We'll talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. All right, keep it tuned, keep it locked right here to WNB1 Radio, straight to the point sports.
I would like to introduce.
Okay, let's go.
New Bedford's new online radio station. WNB1 Radio, broadcasting live 24/7. All music genres. WNB1 Radio, your urban music link.
Is your house in need of a good paint job?
We have the perfect solution for you. Yes, we can house paint. Yes, we can painting paints everything from interior to exterior projects.
From dining room, living room, pantries to cellars, or if you're in need of a total makeover where the outside of your home needs a new paint job, then Yes We Can House Painting is the perfect painting service for you. With 15 years of experience, Yes We Can House Painting will give you a professional makeover that will have your neighbors glowing with envy.
Call Yes We Can at 774-510-4840 or email them at yeswecanpainting@gmail.com. And also tell them that your friends here at WNB1 Radio sent you. Yes, spring is in the air, and if you're looking to get cleaning done the right way, then Newbie Cleaning is a cleaning service for you. Newbie Cleaning is a licensed, insured, bonded, and a locally owned residential and commercial cleaning business which has over 15 years experience providing quality cleaning services in all of Bristol County. Did we mention that they provide services for homes, schools, churches, medical facilities, office buildings, restaurants, post-construction cleanups, and after-party cleanups? Newbie Cleaning has customized packages that tailor to deep cleaning, whether you're moving into a new home, moving out of an old home, or you simply want that vacation home clean. Newbie Cleaning is flexible in booking appointments weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or if you just want a one-time clean. Newbie Cleaning takes pride in the level of service in which they provide, so they have a higher level of cleaning experience that they can add to a business to ensure that they are up to code and compliant with cleaning regulations. You can rest assured that once they clean a service location, all products and equipments are used solely for that location only. No mop or no rag is used and transferred to another location where germs can be spread. They pride themselves on quality service, and they do the same with their employees by offering competitive wages as well as flexible schedules. Remember, cleaning service is the perfect gift for realtors looking for closing gifts or for showing your appreciation by helping someone take a break. No job is too big or too small for Newbie Cleaning Services, so give them a call at 508-974-4815. or visit their website at www.newbie-cleaning.com. And be sure to mention that WNB1 Radio sent you. Have you made that New Year's resolution to get into shape and you still haven't followed through with it? Then you need to join KO Gym.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
KO Gym is located at 50 Conduit Street in the north end of New Bedford, within the historic mills in a 5,000 square foot space, within plenty of room to train for social distancing, and the facility has unlimited parking outside. KO Gym offers exclusive training in Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, grappling, jiu-jitsu, as well as strength and conditioning programs. So if you're looking to train to get into shape to train for self-defense, or if you're looking to train to compete professionally, KO Gym has experienced professional staff to help you obtain your goal. They also offer one-on-one personal training as well as group classes to satisfy everyone's needs. So go ahead and let KO Gym help you make that change for a healthy body and a healthy mind. And also tell them that WMB1 Radio made the referral for you.
It's no secret that the trucking industry is struggling for drivers. So why not look for a school that can get you the credentials that you need to start that new career? Get on the road to success with J&J Driving School and Logistics Incorporated, located at 978 Nash Road in New Bedford, Massachusetts. J&J is a Black and woman-owned trade school leading the South Coast in CDL training. J&J offers the most comprehensive training programs for CDLs A, B, and school bus training. Don't let opportunities drive right by you. Go and see our friends at J&J and get your CDL career started right away. And be sure to tell them that WNB1 Radio sent you.
Welcome back to WMB1 Radio, straight to the point sports. We're here on this Thursday evening, and I'm joined by Derek and Steve. Derek, who is sitting in for Derek. Thanks for showing up, because the other guy was a little
The other
nervous.
guy's a slacker.
He's a little nervous. He knows that he saw Dallas and Minnesota on the schedule, so he got a little sick. He got a little under the weather. I can't blame him, because he's gonna get it. Another thing that we needed to talk about was the NFL schedule release. I totally forgot about that. What games are you looking? Did you see any games that caught your eyes that you're like
teams or for the
but
whole
just overall? You could be individual
Week one.
teams.
The Colts and Texans. Anthony Richardson's season was cut short yesterday, but he was playing the second best as a rookie quarterback to C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud now got Stephon Diggs. They're division rivals. They played game one because they weren't able to play each other at full strength because Richardson got hurt before they did. I think they both improved over the offseason, and I'm curious to see. I think they'll be two of the better teams in the AFC. Like, people are not sold on the coach yet, but remember last year they had the Jonathan Taylor situation that was unsettled. They didn't know what to expect with Richardson. They had one wide receiver. Now they've added another wide receiver. They had the kid from is it North Carolina that developed for them? But they had a rookie come out of nowhere last year and play great. And they made improvements. But for week one, and what's the Thursday night game? The rematch, the Chiefs and
Ravens.
So you start off that Thursday. That's going to be highly rated. And then on Monday, I'm on Sunday at 1:00. I'm going to be looking at that Texans and Colts game.
Yeah. So with the schedule release, we're planning a trip to Cleveland opening day.
Your
Dog pound?
Yes, we're going.
You guys
to
got
Cleveland.
your dog hats?
No, I'm not going in. I'm not going into the end zone. I'll be sitting somewhere safe or somewhere safe. Listen, it can't be any worse than Philly.
Yeah.
It can't. There's nothing worse than Philly. I don't care what.
So do you guys go? Because I see you guys go. Like, you go one game a year.
We usually do.
Cities?
We usually do an away game and then one in Dallas.
Oh, one in Dallas.
Yes.
They drive locally, like
Yes. Yeah, we'll go to New York. That's
New York.
New Jersey, I should say, because it's in the Meadowlands.
They come to
I won't go past anything past New Jersey. That's too far for me.
You guys went
I
to
know.
DC last year.
Yeah,
It
I'm not. No, it didn't snow. It didn't snow. It was nice out there. It snowed out here, but out there it didn't happen. They took a picture. It was nice and clear. So the games that caught my eye, which Derek would have been fired up if he was here, was obviously the rematch between the Cowboys and the Lions.
Yep.
Off of the the controversial game that took place last year. Did you check in? Did you not check in? Were you eligible? Were you not eligible? I'm going to go for it again, even though I went for it 3 times in a row and missed. I'm going to, instead of me running out the clock, I'm going to throw the ball 3 times and give them the ball back with a chance to win. I don't know. I called it the Dumb and Dumber game because I don't know which coach was dumb or which coach was dumber.
They didn't help themselves.
Because Dallas had a chance to win the game in regulation. All they had to do was run the ball 3 times, which would have forced Detroit to call 2 timeouts. Instead, they left them with the 2 timeouts, and Detroit drove down the field and got put into a place to tie the game up after the first missed call. Actually, they had 3 tries, so it was the holding call. it was the ineligible call, and then the third time was the incomplete pass. So he had 3 shots at it. So you had 3 dumb calls by the Cowboys coach where he should have run the ball, and you had 3 dumb calls by the Detroit Lions coach where he, dude, kick the field goal, kick the extra point, live to play another down. So yeah, that was one of, and another one is the Cowboys against the Houston Texans. So it's a Sunday night game.
That's
So
one
they
of the
come
games
in.
I want to go see my team play.
They play. It's a Sunday night game. So that's going to be the battle for Texas because you've got an up and coming Houston Texans team. And what makes it so great is you're going to have the Diggs brothers going against each other. You're going to have the wide receiver going against his brother. So that's going to be, that was a good
You think
game.
they'll match up head to head?
So
Because they got
Diggs,
Mr. Stingley over there.
so well, no, but that's okay because we got Bland. We got Bland and Diggs this year. We got both guys. So Diggs. You got to remember he tore his knee up last year after Game 4.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have back-to-back years. We had interception
I was just wondering
leaders.
if the brothers would match up.
So the way I look at it, I wouldn't
They could
doubt.
put
I wouldn't
Stingley
doubt.
on him to
I
keep
wouldn't
his
doubt.
brother off.
I wouldn't doubt that you would
Oh, no,
see
wait
a lot of
Stingley
mix and
plays
match.
for his team.
I wouldn't see you would have guys. You're saying Stingley, the DB?
Yeah. I was.
No. Yeah.
They're on this. I was thinking he would take a chance on Diggs, but Diggs went to Houston, so
Yeah.
they're on the same team.
No, I wouldn't be surprised that if you would see them matching up at some point.
Dallas
Diggs,
find a second
Diggs,
receiver though. They got
Diggs-
shut down corners.
Yeah, no, I mean the Cowboys. That's the thing. You got to find.
Houston got 3.
You've
now,
gotta-
wide receivers.
You got rid of one, and now you got to look for a second. So we'll see. And there's a lot of holes for the Cowboys. We don't know what their running backs is.
Go back
We
to
don't
the
know
garbage bin.
You
gotta retread the
you
running back.
don't know. But we didn't get him to feature him. We got him for short yardage down. That's what we got him for because we didn't have a backup plan last year, and we got him. We got rid of him. We were trying to tush push.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had backs forever and a day where, we've had power backs where we've never depended on, a quarterback sneak. And it was that bad last year. Dowdle undersized, and obviously Pollard is undersized. And Deuce is just a mini me.
And your offensive line was struggling.
And but that's another thing too is we've got 2 unknowns that we got drafted. We're depending on them heavily. A center and we've got a center and we've got a guard. Excuse me, a tackle.
The most.
That
would have been the sexy picks.
No, I understand that.
Was what Dallas.
I understand that, but
you can find a running back easier than a starting line.
It's unknown. These guys, it's not a bookend that they're going to be the right guard is garbage that we have. He's garbage. So I mean, it's just Terrence Steele. It's just one of those things where you're going to see a lot of pressure coming from that right side. And the good thing is he'll be able to see it because it's not his blind side. So hopefully he can get out the way quick. But those are some of the games, and I also like the game that you said, the rematch of the AFC
that's the
championship
first
game
that Thursday night.
Yeah. So yeah, coincidentally we might go to the opening game, obviously with Cleveland, and we're thinking about going to the Detroit game. So Derek and Seisho, if you're out there and you're listening, you're not scared. If we decide to go, come on down. Come on down.
You're inviting Derek to that game, and I was almost gonna. I don't have many Minnesota fans, but we play Detroit in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Or I'll go to Detroit and watch that game.
Derek can go to a couple games.
Yeah, Derek's going to be mistakenly sick like he is today. Something's going to come up. He's going to pull a beard, a hair in his beard muscle or something, and he's not going to want to go. Yeah. But based on what you guys did in the draft, your respective teams, and the schedule that you see out, what do you forecast for what type of season? Because I was trying to do that with my team. Like, what we got in the draft, how much I think those guys developed. Then I saw our schedule, and I had a very negative impact on my team's outlook for what I think they're going to win. But how do you guys see your teams without getting any more free agents. Just the draft picks and the guys you got.
Well,
Can't predict what's going to happen for pickups going forward.
I can't say that will be improved.
How many wins?
I'm looking at between 10 and 11. 11 max. 11 max. We'll go from 13 to 11. I don't foresee us winning. I think we'll lose some games early because our first 8 games are brutal.
Yeah, and your division's improved.
And then
the bottom feeders got a little better.
There's so many good teams out there.
Our first 8 games, I think, are brutal, but our second half of the season is a lot better. So I think if they can come out of the first 8, possibly 5-3, 4-4, that would be a win because, like I said, the second half of their schedule is relatively easy. They go back into the division with the Giants, with the Redskins.
The Commanders is going to be a little better than what they were.
I think they'll be better,
they'll
but
stabilize the quarterback. They got Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
they can throw the ball to those 2 good wide receivers they got. They got a decent young tight end. They need an offensive line.
Well, the thing is, how are these guys going to mesh? It's one thing saying they are going to, but it's the driving thing for me is the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be great. They're just going to be a more formidable challenge than they were last year.
Yeah,
because of the pieces they've added and division games.
I think
that division stay close. There's not a lot of.
I don't think that. I think the Commanders will be slightly better. I don't foresee them. I think the
going into DC to play, I think could be tricky.
I think
it's not an automatic win.
Yeah, it's just like the AFC East. You can't count.
I don't know.
They know each other.
We've been blowing them out the last few years. This year we blew them out. I think it was 37-7, I think, when we played them. The quarterback is the driving force for me. If you're not stable at the quarterback position,
it's quarterback league.
You're not going to be.
There's still a little bit of thread on the tire of Austin Eckler, I think, and the way they could use him out of the backfield in the passing game. And, if he can run behind that shaky line, that's the difference. I think they're going to make things tougher for everybody.
But this is the thing with the Commanders. They've given up. They've given up on their pass rushers. Who do you have on the edge?
Well, they drafted pass rushers in the draft.
Yeah,
in the second and third. Yeah, well, after Daniels, I think they got.
We'll see. We'll see how those guys pan out.
Who it was? It wasn't the kid from Penn State.
They're not
defensive end.
Well, you got to remember all those picks back in the day were all number ones, right across the line. They did that purposely.
Was the interior line?
Yeah, they kept the 2 big guys, but they got rid of the edges.
Jonathan Allen.
That was a direct reflection upon, if the Cowboys are going to be run heavy. If the Eagles are going to be run heavy, we got to get somebody. So all they did was they drafted one all the way down the line, from edge rusher to middle guys to edge rusher. And those guys were all number 1 picks. Unfortunately for them, their contracts all came up together, and they was like, you know what? Instead of paying you, we're going to cash you out. Yeah. You get rid of them. While this, and the funniest part about it is the one that went to Chase Young is did he even get signed yet?
He went to another team. I don't think he's with.
Yeah, no, I didn't think he was going to go to San Fran because he was trying to command top dollar.
Right?
Yeah, he got. He was a rental.
He ended up going somewhere else.
He was a rental. Yeah,
I can't remember, but the 10 to 11 wins, that's in line with how I saw it. But I looked at it more like 9 to 10 wins because unless that line pans out, they get a running back. I don't know if I can give them that 11th win.
I look at between 10 and 11 wins.
The defense gets better with Diggs.
I looked at it because I have a sneaky suspicion from what I've been reading. Instead of Jerry trying to go through the draft, he's going to try to backdoor it and before the trade deadline comes, and he's going to add a quality running back and possibly
somebody has to become available.
Well, there's always someone. Someone's always sellers. There's always sellers.
Who might be who might be a good situation for his team? Cleveland, because they don't know what they got in Nick Chubb. The rookie played very well last year. I won a fantasy league because of him. Yep. I'm trying to remember, but he came in and did very well. He was a rookie. If either one of those players get made available to Dallas, and I think it would be Chubb because of the injury history with his knee, but he's still viable. he can make a difference on the Cowboys.
Like I said, they're going to all the reports that I've read. He didn't want to jump out out of character. I think he lied, obviously, when he said all in.
Just to satisfy the fans.
Yeah, that was all in. But they're sticking to a plan. I can't say that I agree with it, but from everything that I've been reading, they're going to. They've satisfied as much as they can as far as needs with offensive line, which was the most glaring, because when you lose 2 offensive linemen, you have to make up for them, and that's not always easy because sometimes not every lineman is going to come in and right away and pan out. You might have to go through your some bad spells, and then it'll
You
take
didn't
you to
lose no
develop.
defensive free agents, did you?
Oh yeah, we lost a lot of guys right over to the Commanders. They went with the head coach. All he did was he took. I want to say he took five
Your center.
five of our players. 5 of our players, and they and 4 of them, I believe, were starters. But like I said, it's just one of those things where you look at the team overall, and like I said, I think through he's going to try to backdoor trade deadline and get a running back. If he would learn to shut his mouth,
Stop trying to be the center of attention.
Jerry?
Yeah, if he would shut his
Jerry.
mouth, he screwed himself
He wants
because
to be the star of the team.
he screwed himself because everybody knew that the Cowboys wanted a running back. And the day before the draft, I can't stop gushing about this running back.
Yeah.
And what happens? 7 picks before you're ready to pick, someone scoops him,
And
they weren't projected to pick him. But because of listen, it's like a chess game.
You should have been talking about someone else.
You shouldn't have been talking at all.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. He wants to be heard and he wants to be seen. You shouldn't have been talking at all. You should have just been quiet. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think if I had to give someone, if I had to look at the division and say, okay, well, who's going to win the division? I have to roll with the numbers that it'll make it into year 20, I think it is.
No repeats.
No repeats for the division.
20 years.
Yes.
Nope.
And I like very much what Philly did. 2 great defensive backs.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got Cooper DeJean in the second round, but they drafted, was it the Alabama kid? They drafted 2 studs.
Yeah, 2 cornerbacks.
They got Arnold.
2 cornerbacks.
Yeah, but they got a first-round pick, and the only reason Cooper DeJean wasn't a first-round pick is coming off injury.
Yeah,
But
they went.
got 2 at their weakest spot.
Yeah.
They got 2 of the best cornerbacks.
Mhm.
That shores up. Like he said, they needed an offensive line. They needed a defensive back, and I think those young kids will grow as they might have some learning, challenges at the beginning, but by midseason, them guys are going to be all right. Once they learn the pace of the game and they learn the system, them guys are studs.
Yeah.
So if they stay healthy, because we all knew Jalen was hurt all year last year, and their running backs got to contribute. They got to replace Kelsey, who retired. But I think Philly will be the favorite in that division slightly.
Yeah, they will
Slightly.
be. They will be because it comes down to who you lost and who you
And they
got to fill those
maintain
positions.
their
Quarterback.
I mean, their wide receivers got signed long term.
Yeah. We lost the wide receiver. We lost more than what we gained, and we're still unsettled with running back. The offensive line. To me, it's offensive line and running back. Those are the big questions. So that's the reason why I would give Philly the advantage right now. They went and they got themselves a stud in Saquon, and they got.
I forgot all about running it. Yeah,
they got Saquon, somebody who pretty much carried the Giants.
Yep.
If he stays
by
healthy,
himself.
that's a problem because they got a great line even with Kelsey leaving.
So yeah, I give them the advantage. But you got to decide it on the field. We'll go from there. So we'll talk briefly about, because we're coming up on the 8:00 hour. We'll talk briefly about an end of an era for TNT. The Inside the NBA is done. 34 years.
I was so disappointed last night when I heard this.
34 years.
I saw
Well,
people posting it all
Well,
week
no, I
on Facebook.
Oh, I only heard it last night.
yeah, no. So the bid for the rights to the basketball was actually 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
NBC
and
got it,
NBC got it. So they just made it public a week ago. And then all the speculation, like where these guys going to go, where they going to go. And then they're coming to they're obviously they're coming to ahead because they cover just they cover up until the Eastern Conference Finals. They don't have the
finals?
championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's starting to come out more. Well, what are these guys going to do? Where are they going to go? I have no doubt that they'll probably end up somewhere in a package. Or
And
You
they
think so?
asked some of them, what would you do? Would you go? And Charles Barkley was very forthcoming, saying, "Yes, if the money's right,
oh, yeah.
this is what I love to do. I'm
Yeah.
going."
I mean, none of
You
those
don't
guys.
do nothing else
None of
but
those guys.
basketball at
None of
the
those
end.
guys are. None of those guys are hurting for money. So
No,
you know,
you love
it's
what
just
you
that
do.
it's just that they want to continue doing being in the broadcasting field and doing what they do.
And working together. I like
Yeah.
that unit.
I mean,
I don't want to see. I like the banter between Kenny Smith,
Yes,
and Shaq, and Charles Barkley, and Ernie holding it together. I like them together. I like all of them.
from a fan's point of view, I have to watch like the 30-minute NBA pregame with them.
Yeah.
And I got to watch the
Post
halftime.
game.
And I gotta
I watch.
the
I watch. I
postgame.
watch
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
I don't ever
I
just
like
turn
their
it.
breakdown.
I don't ever just turn it.
I would rather miss 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Run to the bathroom, go to the refrigerator, do what I got to do, and make sure I'm there for halftime. 'Cause,
Yeah, I
you know,
don't. I've got to see their post game summary and to see how they think. I like to see it because I like to, when I watch the game, I'm very critiquey. So I like to see if they are actually going to say
They're honest.
what I watched, or
Yeah.
we're kind of comparing. And 9 out of 10 times, I'm not going to brag, but they say a lot of what I say.
They tear apart plays if they feel the need.
So, just
They
yesterday,
call people out.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
just yesterday.
honest.
Barkley does it all the time.
Just
Shaq
yesterday.
does it all the
Yeah.
time.
So,
Yeah.
for instance, just yesterday, I said to myself, it shouldn't have, it shouldn't have to come down to a 38-year-old Al Horford to have the game of his life in order for them to win.
Yeah.
And blow it open. The game should have been, it shouldn't have even been close.
Right.
And they as soon as they got on it, Chuck said, "Well, you got this old guy here, he's like the same age as LeBron,
Yeah.
having the best game of his career just to save the Celtics." Because you think about it, there was at the 7-minute mark, it was only a 6-point game.
Right.
And then they went on a 9-0 spurt, which was spearheaded by 2 3-pointers that he got, and it blew the game open. But they said that pretty much the same thing. They play around too much, isolation, and ultimately he said, he said, you can get through it with the junior NBA in the East, but once you go to the West, it's not going to work. You have to be on top of your game because any one of those 4 teams, if you lag, any one of those 4 teams in the West, they have killers.
Yeah.
They have killers. And in this case, the Celtics have not faced the killer yet. All the killers have been on the sideline. So this is the difference.
Through no fault of their own.
This is the
but
difference.
they haven't
And
had-
like I said, often when I say it, people get mad at me. They're like, "Why are you saying that?" I'm only being honest.
Yeah.
I'm only being honest. I'm not going to I see it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a homer. I'm going to say exactly what I see. Barkley just recently signed a $10 million contract with TNT. How are they going to work that out? I don't know. That's a good question.
if you keep him, what games are you going to broadcast?
College.
Yeah.
College. If you have no
That'll
sporting,
be a buyout.
yeah, I'm sure it will. If you have no sports to broadcast, where are you going to be?
Not like he can do golf. Or,
Yeah, nah.
you know,
No.
hockey.
God, have you seen the way he swings? But yeah, no, it's one of those things. I don't know. I haven't looked into. I found it kind of weird that both Shaq and Barkley were both not present the day before.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
on business, which means they are probably seeking out a contract somewhere. Both of them together. I found it a little strange. So yeah, they're probably making
They're
moves in
done
the
for season,
background.
so
So we'll see. But yeah, it's just gonna seem weird because them guys, they keep it light. but yet funny, and
Informative.
relatable.
Yeah.
And relatable. It's like they talk like we're talking.
Right.
They don't, go over your head. They don't get super deep. They get their point across, but they get it a point.
It's a good
across.
blend of
Yes.
humor,
Yeah.
knowledge,
Yes.
likability. We all like them as individuals.
The stair lift yesterday.
They, yeah.
Kenny on a steel lift, yeah. It was hilarious how he fell last week. He went to go run up, and he was
Yeah.
rushing. He hit the second step, and he just
Yeah.
poof, he hit the deck. But yeah, they make it. They make it. It's like I said, very personable, humorous, but yet informative.
Right.
And you can relate to them because they're not talking circles around your head. They break it down in a way where the average Joe can tune in and they can watch. And like I said, it's very relatable. So yeah, it's going to be missed. It's definitely going to be missed. When I posted, someone brought up a great point. They were like, before TNT got it, we went through the same thing with Ahmad Rashad, and when they were running basketball and everything.
Monday Night Football.
And
did the same
oh
thing.
yeah,
When they
Yeah.
switched
I mean, it
to
happens.
ESPN.
Yeah.
it goes in
Guys
waves.
fell in
Yeah.
love with I can't
Yeah.
watch without these guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it goes in waves. So we'll see what they put together on NBC, and I'm sure they're going to get people who fit the part. You're not going to, because let's face it, people are going to critique it heavy,
Yeah.
especially after 34 years. You better be on point, or else you'll get a lot of people will tune out. And let's face it, ratings affect everything, right?
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, after 34 years, we're gonna miss those guys. Good luck to them wherever they go.
I miss them.
Yeah,
How long was it? 20 years?
34. 34
Of them guys?
years.
Well, but not that.
No, TNT.
Yeah, TNT.
TNT.
You brought up
TNT.
Fred
34
Hickman
years.
before, and I
Yeah,
was like, I forgot he
TNT
was the
has had the
last one.
contract for 34 years for
That crew being together.
for Kenny,
That's
Shaq,
at least 10 years.
and more than that. I think it's 16 years, 16 or
The same
15
four
years.
have been together?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes, 15 or
I know it's
16
at
years.
least 10. I didn't know it'd been 17. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
I didn't know Shaq was retired.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
yeah.
So for them, Shaq was the last one that came on. Shaq was the last one. Kenny, it was Kenny.
Oh, Kenny, yeah, before.
It was
Kenny and Ernie.
Kenny and Ernie, and then Barkley came on, and then Shaq came on. Shaq was the last one to come on. And it's funny because when they talked about it, they said that they didn't know how they would. They didn't know how Shaq would be.
Yeah.
They knew that he had a lighter side to him, but would he be able to fit with what they already had?
Yeah.
And they said he came in running. He never dropped the ball. It was like a perfect fit. So anytime you get someone new, there's always going to be this pushback, like, oh, how are they going to be or whatever. But he said that he came in and he hit the ground running. And ultimately, you get what you got now. But yeah, I mean, times change, people change, and programs change. So we just got to adapt to it. All right, final subject is the women of the WNBA.
Caitlin?
The Caitlin Clark effect. We all know that there's been a lot of pushback on her. The WNBA is trying to make her the face of the WNBA right away. And
they're right in trying to do that.
She came
She's
across-
gonna be there the
yeah.
longest.
yeah,
And she's got instant impact right
Yeah.
now.
She just came off of a very successful career, especially the last season. I mean, last 2 seasons. I mean, why not?
yeah. So the thing is that anytime somebody comes in and hasn't done anything, the people who have contributed and who have put the sweat is going to be pushback. And we've seen it by a number of players.
Anna Taurasi.
Yeah.
We've seen it by a number of players. And that's just the competitive edge in you. They're saying, like, listen, this girl hasn't scored a point yet.
And you know what that
Right?
reminds me of? Before the NFL went to the salary for the rookies, the rookie salary.
Yeah, they used to come and make more money.
You got people that would get more
Wouldn't
than
even
the
play it
salary
down.
pro, and they'd be a
Right.
bust.
Right.
And that was hard to take. And the veterans, rightfully so, got upset. Like, I've been an all pro for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not this person hasn't been on the court for 1 second.
Yeah.
Her Nike deal, $28 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they should be happy
People
in
haven't
general
made that in their whole career.
for the league
Yeah.
going
No,
forward.
no.
Yeah.
They got to incorporate more people.
Yeah.
And you know who I think of right away? And she was very humble about it. Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MVP.
Two-time MVP, two-time defending champion. You're the best player in the WNBA.
Yeah.
Why isn't she getting the same love? And she's done it in the NBA.
Yeah.
Why isn't her salary nowhere near hers?
Yeah.
Why is her shoe deal nowhere near hers? They gave her a shoe deal. She said, I don't know how much truth it is, that shoe deal was in the works long before Caitlin Clark's, but they were developing the shoe and she was waiting for Caitlin Clark announced hers before she even got into the damn league. Right after Caitlin Clark announced her shoe deal, Asia Wilson, but it's for a fraction of the money that. But here's an established winner, and that's the argument that Diana Taurasi and all them are making.
Yep.
But they didn't have the impact that Caitlin Clark had. But everybody's criticizing because she never won in college, and she hasn't done nothing in the WNBA yet. But we've anointed her, without having to prove it.
Yeah, it's just a competitive thing, and people get offended because, like I said, she hadn't scored a point, but yet she's coming in with sneaker deals, and everybody's pushing her to the forefront. I think there has to be a median where the ultimately where the players and the WNBA kind of say, listen, money is coming down the pipeline.
Yeah,
right.
You'll get yours.
Be patient.
Yep.
Let's use her as the person who's going to catapult us and put us at that point.
Yeah.
About blending the veterans.
Exactly. I think there has to be a medium,
and we know help's on the way because they got a ton of talent in the college ladies game right now.
You have to, like I said, you have to get a medium and help and ask those superstars to kind of buy in and say, hey, listen, she's getting the money, but we're using her out there to roll in the TV deals, to roll in the sponsors, to roll in everything.
Is there profit sharing in the WNBA?
Yes. It's owned by the NBA. It's owned by the NBA.
Yeah, but I was just wondering, could they make more money as a result of
they're doing it now.
The owners will.
They're doing it now because they're at their expansion teams. Toronto's got theirs.
Yep, and I heard that also.
Toronto's,
and Golden State.
They want to do 4 more expansion teams within the next 2 years.
Yeah.
That grow so just to give you some numbers, the WNBA in the last 2 years has reported losses of $12 and $16 million.
Yeah.
Losses.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the case this year.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the case this year. So guess what? People are going to make money. They're making money, so the salaries have to catch up with it.
It's the TV deal too.
Yes.
People start watching.
What I like about this though? For years, people said, "Well, how come nobody's support?" The WNBA didn't have a good enough product out there for years, and before the NBA saved them from going under, they weren't getting the viewership. You know who the lowest number of ratings for viewers were? Young girls.
Yeah.
Professional women. The guys were still the most highest people watching the WNBA.
Right.
Because we're basketball fans. But I hate when people say it's sexist that the girls aren't making. You can't pay somebody if you're losing $16 million.
Yeah.
It wasn't the NBA's job.
Yes.
The math
it's
is
math.
The NBA recently bought the WNBA. They were their own entity.
Yeah.
And they were failing.
They only brought them so that they wouldn't go under.
Yes.
Right.
But now with the emergence of Caitlin Clark, there's superstars that are already there. The sign of expansion is great because we see the TV deals. We see the merchandise selling. We see the interest coming from the girls who weren't supported. Now there's a lot of young girls, like the young kids. Our kids would idolize Steph Curry and all that. Now they got somebody like a Caitlin Clark to idolize.
Right.
It's just simple. If you have expansion, then you're making money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be like you, right? If you were selling houses, if you're
the market goes to a boom.
If you're a realtor, you're doing so well. You say, "Oh, you know what? I've got an office here in the Southeast. I want to open one up in Rhode Island."
Yep, and another one down.
So you're expanding. You're expanding.
Yeah.
So obviously you're making money.
Yep.
And this is what they're seeing now with expansion and all that stuff. They are projecting. So what they're doing is saying, "Oh my God!" So it's just simple, right? The first game. Indiana played Connecticut. And they drew an average of 2.1 million viewers on ESPN2, ESPN2, and Disney,
WNBA,
and making it the most watched WNBA game.
I heard they tied it.
And no, this is a quote: most watched WNBA game in more than 2 decades.
In more than 2 decades, yeah.
All right,
all time.
The matchup also marked the first time Disney has streamed live sports game peaking when an average of 2.3 million
That
viewers.
was the only game that was streamed. Where's the rest of the team? Where's the rest of the league?
So,
players?
but you want to know something interesting? So, did you hear what happened with
the girl who went live. And
Yes.
streamed it? Yeah, 2
she
million
got over
viewers.
2 million views.
Really?
She was at the game and streamed it live to her social media and got
Yes.
2 million viewers.
2
So we
million
know the
views.
demand's
Yeah,
out there.
yeah.
The networks with all their smarts couldn't figure out that there's other people. Yes, those other girls that got drafted, Cameron Brink, Reese, there's other good talent out there. Caitlin Clark's the upper echelon. But people want to see those other girls, and that's the part that I think they have to close the gap. Yes, Caitlin Clark's the leader, but don't act like you don't got other people energizing
Yeah, but so I mean,
the league.
is there an issue doing it too because you have NBA games on ESPN, like TNT, like where they're gonna play?
Their contract, I think, let's just say there was 30 live games that were coming on. 26 of them are Indiana Fever games.
Yeah.
Oh, I
They-
see.
they
You know what I
wanna
mean?
showcase
There's other
Caitlin
teams
Yeah, I
Clark.
in
see,
the
yeah, I
league.
see what you're saying.
How do you not see Asia Wilson, the two-time defense
Yeah.
champion and two-time back-to-back? I want to see more of the. She's already done it. How come we're not seeing her?
Right.
They're
So,
putting all their eggs in that basket.
so the game in which you referred, it drew the largest audience since the Los Angeles Sparks and
Yep.
Houston Comets faced off in 2001. Clark's debut outdrew, listen to this, the competing NHL Men's Stanley Cup playoff game between Boston and Florida that aired during the same period, Tuesday evening on ESPN. The NHL game drew an average of 2 million viewers and peaked at 3.2 million viewers. Okay. So that's the Caitlin Clark effect. If you go backwards, all right, 18.9 million viewers when our Iowa played South Carolina. All right. And then moving forward from that, the WNBA draft, 2.4 million viewers. The old high was 600,000 in
Yeah.
2014.
Yes.
It's crazy.
So
The draft,
Yeah.
because we all knew Caitlin Clark was going number one, but there was a lot of other talent in there.
Very, yeah.
And I think that's what's growing the women's game is there's an influx of new talent led by Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
But don't underestimate the Camila Cardozas and the Angel Reeses and the girl out of Stanford, Cameron Brink. They all had better first games than Caitlin Clark did. Caitlin Clark shot 5 for 15, and she got the majority of those points when the game was already out of it wasn't competitive.
so, yeah.
She had 3 points at halftime.
Yeah.
The girl, Connecticut, I didn't understand. I didn't realize they're the number one defensive team in the league in the WNBA. And the girl that played her, Carrigan, she was physical. She was
Oh,
stronger. She had the height. And they made her go left.
She was frustrated.
And she couldn't shoot. She couldn't create her shot off the dribble going to the left. They made her go left the whole first half. She got her points in transition when they were already down 10, 15 points.
And this goes back to what Diana Taurasi said. You're going to be playing against some grown women.
Yeah.
The girls were bigger and stronger than her. Her ability is going to catch up. I think Caitlin Clark's going to be a hell of a WNBA player, but she's not going to come in and dominate. These people are all going to take a personal challenge. Like she's got a target on her right now because you have anointed her the queen and you're not paying us no attention. We're going to show you we're better.
Everybody's going to want to give her the double A game.
But
Not
to
even
this-
the A game, the double A game.
To this point, she had the most pressure I've ever seen on one player her whole senior year, and she handled it magnificently.
Yeah.
This is a different animal because she was doing it on the college level. I think in 2 or 3 years, she'll be a top 3 player in the WNBA.
I agree.
It's not going to happen.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just the media and you know and how she's being marketed. They want her to be up there because it's riding the wave.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's riding the wave.
But get everybody else.
Like I said, there has to be a median between the WNBA and how they're marketing people because the money is now there. So you can integrate some of these stars who have been winning, who have been MVPs, you know, and doing all that, all this good stuff for the WNBA. They can get some flowers too,
Mhm.
you know, and you can still keep Caitlin Clark, you know, as a focal point, but add some other people into the fray.
because that live streaming was evidence
Yeah.
that people wanted to see Camila Cardoza and Angel Reese too. 2 million views off something that wasn't scheduled. People had to find that stream.
Yeah.
People didn't know that was going to get streamed. Everybody
So-
just kept sharing it.
So you know, with all the pushback, I've been seeing all these you know, these stats and everything, and they're saying, okay, if Caitlin Clark is so good, we need to see her do what Candace Parker did in her rookie year.
Oh God, her
Rookie of the year.
ridiculous.
And
20
NBA
points a
championship.
game.
No, more than that. She averaged 24.5 points a game.
Double figures in
So
rebounds.
she was NBA Rookie of the Year and MVP and a champion.
But she didn't get the hoopla.
And she was a champion. So that there's starting to be the pushback, and people are, they're starting to see like, wait a second, there was some people that were better, or can she do this? Then that would really make
Impact
her
in winning more.
Yeah, that would really
That
make
winning
her.
wasn't translating into selling.
That would really make it. So the way that the way that they're advertising her is like they already have her as the GOAT.
Yeah.
But
I think it's like the excitement that she brought, like shooting Stephen Curry threes, like that, that whole, presence of her.
Yeah.
And
but like that's just the thing, it brought it. Now that you're here,
yeah,
it has to translate over,
right.
Because if you so the other night she had 10 turnovers.
Yeah, that was the same game. Yep.
She had 10. She had 10 turnovers. She had the wrong double.
Yeah, double.
She had the wrong double. She had 20 points and she had 10 turnovers. She was, I believe, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, and she hit three threes. Yes,
they weren't in the half court.
Yeah,
they got in transition. She pulled up because they didn't have time to set up and defend her. But in the half court offense, she looked locked down.
I mean, she'll catch her breath. This first game, pressure on her. I feel,
she'll improve. But that's why you can't be too quick to anoint somebody.
Right.
It offends everybody in the league, but it's selling. The WNBA just cares about getting out of debt. That's their meal ticket right now. They're going to promote the hell out of her. But there's other people that deserve that same type of push. And if they push everybody, more teams grow, more markets grow, more view. Make the NBA aware. Make us audience members aware that there's other great talent out there. Yeah, I love watching Caitlin Clark. Damn, I didn't know Asia Wilson was doing this. I didn't know Candace Parker and this. I didn't know Cameron Brink was doing this. You got to have, when she can't play every night. You need, but the smart thing that I thought was smart, but I hate it, is 26 out of the 30 games are Indiana Fevers. Every single one of their games is nationally televised.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's only 4 other teams on national TV.
Yeah. Hopefully in time. Hopefully in time that they get it right.
That's when the expansion will really come, because now you're going to get more endorsements out of the LA market, the New York market. Indiana's not a major market, but she's so big that everybody's going to buy it just to see her. But I got to get everybody to tune in all over the place.
Yeah. All right. We'll wrap this show up. First and foremost, Derek, thank you for stepping in.
Thanks for having me.
For the other
Always
Derek.
a good time.
For the other Derek, if you're out there watching. But yeah, it was a pleasure to have you, as always. We actually just put our lineup together for the comedy show. If you want to explain to people.
Thank you for those who supported the last show. I haven't seen so much positive feedback, but Smokey Suarez, Marlon Baker, everybody involved, they really did a great job. And now we're on the heels of our next one. We're going to pick up right where we left off. A.G. White has been on every major circuit in the comedy, Def Jam, Bad Boys of Comedy, BET, and he currently tours with 2 heavy hitters. He tours with Lunel, who's on part of Cat Williams' team and established by herself, and a couple of other well-known artists. But then we also got a favorite of ours, Davey Lozano out of Connecticut. Master impressionist, funny as hell. People always ask. It's funny when you're not the headliner and people are still asking when you're bringing this guy back. But we don't like to bring people back too quick.
Yeah.
Like people to miss them.
Yeah.
So it's been like a year. I know my daughter was all excited. Dad, when you bringing Davey back? I'm like, how do you know? She goes, that was my favorite, who I saw. And we got Chris Tabb hosting again.
That
who
dude
did a great job the first time.
Super funny.
But he's in demand, so we weren't able to get him our last show. We actually moved the date to accommodate him.
Yep. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because we were going to keep it on Saturday.
Yeah.
And he was already booked. And he was booked. We're like, he goes, well, I'm open to Friday. Hold it. Don't book that Friday. Let's talk to the other guys involved. And they were able to move it.
Yeah.
But it's Father's Day weekend. Hey, support Father's Day like we support Mother's Day. Take your dad out. Take your husband out. Take your boyfriend out. Ladies, you will enjoy this gift as much as the person will appreciate it that you do it for. A.G. White, Chris Tabb, Davey Lozano. It's going to be a hell of a show. Right back in New Bedford at the Whaler Inn and Suites, Friday, June 14th.
Yes, and for more information, as always, just head on over to WMB1.com. And also, if you guys are wondering, we are going through some changes where we're going to be swapping over things. Right now, our app. It's just informative. There's no music playing on it. It's just telling you that we're in the process of changing over, and to tune into WMB1.com, where you can get all the live entertainment, the podcasts, the music, everything. So right now, our app is down. Just go to WMB1.com and you can access all the information, as well as the shows and the music, to our website currently. Okay. Shortly, we should be back to our apps and everything. But for the time being, tune in to WMB1.com. All right. With that being said, we're going to conclude the show. Thank you, fellas, once again for for showing up tonight, and thank you for everybody who supported on commenting, and basically tuned in. With that being said, we're off, and once again, tune in WMB1.com. All right, we're off. Everybody, have a good peace and God bless.
I would like to introduce.
Okay, let's go.
New Bedford's new line radio station. WMB1 radio broadcasting live 24/7. All music genres. WMB1 radio. Your urban music link.